And it's interesting to wonder about the human side of these sorts of activities, because people today think, how could any of these individuals have conducted something like that? How do you shoot women and children in pits and just keep doing it all day long till 33,000 of them are lying there? It almost seems like these are different creatures than we are. We have to account, though, for the fact that they were brutalized by governmental systems that encouraged that kind of behavior and that mode of thinking, and that we're more capable of that as a species than we think we are. There was a whole line of thinking that took place after the war was over at the Nuremberg trials, where we were prosecuting the main Nazi leaders for war crimes. And many of these Nazi leaders said at the time that they shouldn't be held responsible for what happened because they were merely following orders. And the judges from all the Allied countries said, that's no excuse. And what they were basically saying was, you have a duty to oppose orders like this. And that sounds like a very high moral road to travel, but we forget a little bit how we might act in the same situation. I mean, imagine if they threaten you or your family with death, imprisonment, torture for opposing the regime and not doing what you're told. There were some very interesting critiques made by people from totalitarian regimes, exactly why they were able to get human beings to do these kind of things. There was a German surgeon who was appalled by SS atrocities, and he wrote, quote, "The ingenious way totalitarian states, by making people who oppose government policy simply disappear, deny their opponents the opportunity to die a martyr's death for their convictions." Now, this is almost exactly what a Russian writer wrote. He said about the Soviet system, quote, "You become an accomplice to the system even though you're an adversary, because you are unable to express disapproval even if you are willing to pay with your life." End quote. What these people are saying is that instead of being able to stand up there and die for the cause, to have a martyr's death where your death actually accomplishes something, in these totalitarian systems, they simply made you disappear. No one knew what happened to you, and no one knew why you died. So not only do you get to be tortured and killed by the Gestapo or the NKVD, and then have your family likely punished as well, but these regimes manage to make your sacrifices meaningless at the same time. And we like to think we would act so differently, but how many of us would have been prepared to see our wife and children and parents tortured or sent away to an uncertain fate in concentration camps to avoid participating in such evil ourselves? I like to think I'd be one of them, but that's a heck of an assumption to make while I'm sitting here in the comfort of my own, free society.